Hi everyone! Have you decided to move to Costa Rica? Do you need some assistance on figuring out where to start in the country?
Join us in this episode as we go through how we settled on our initial location and give you things to consider when beginning your own journey and relocating. Welcome to
Poly in Paradise. We already told you the why Costa Rica. When it came to planning our move, we had a lot of questions that we needed to answer before we felt comfortable making the big move. Between spreadsheets, whiteboards, Google Maps, Facebook groups, and more, we worked out what we felt we needed before we moved. And in this video, we're going to concentrate about the where.
We decided on some basic principles when it came to where we would relocate in Costa Rica. The most important concept was that living in a place is different from vacationing there. Because of that, we agreed that we would rent in one area for 3 months. After that, we'd try a different location and climate. And then we'd keep simply repeating the cycle until we found the exact place that we wanted to be.
Climate was one of our drivers in wanting to live overseas. We wanted something that would be relatively warm and dry. Not an easy thing to find in a country that's known for its tropical rainforests. There was also a desire to live near the beach. Based on our prior trips, we decided upon the Guanacaste beach towns in the northwestern Costa Rica and Nicoya Peninsula to start.
Now, the Guanacaste region is considered to be a dry tropical rainforest. Looking at temperature and rainfall maps of Costa Rica, you can see that very clearly. Much of this area gets between 100 to 200 centimeters of rain a year, and temperatures average between 75 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. So we decided to focus on this area as our first location.
Good bilingual schools were initially a major consideration for us. While there are several of these located across Costa Rica, the majority of them tend to be focused in either the Central Valley or along the western Pacific beach towns in Guanacaste. This was only a minor consideration for us by the time we picked a rental. However, it did steer us into this region as our first spot.
We had our own list of what we needed and wanted in a house rental. Our minimum needs were specific to us, obviously, but included a maximum price per month,
Allowed dogs,
reliable high-speed internet,
hot water in a shower, even if it was a suicide shower,
a feria, aka a farmer's market,
at least one bedroom with one bathroom,
air conditioning in at least the bedroom,
a washing machine,
and a drivable road.
Then we had our list of wants. A town within bicycling distance, say 8 kilometers.
A pool,
A beach within like 10 kilometers.
a dryer,
A king-size bed.
and fenced because dogs,
2 bedrooms, 2 baths, or more,
a paved road,
all on one floor.
and a gardener and a housekeeper.
Using this list, we started looking at options and filling it into, you guessed it, a spreadsheet. For our initial rental, we opted looking at Airbnbs that allowed long-term rentals. It wasn't the cheapest option by far, but we could find something that ticked off all of our needs and a lot of our wants while we were in the US.
We ended up with a 2-bedroom house just outside of Nosara. Nosara is a town about midway down the Nicoya Peninsula. It's located back from the beach, which tended to make it a little bit less expensive. There are several beaches nearby, including the Astianal National Refuge, which is just minutes away and is famous for its sea turtle arribadas, or mass arrivals.
The house met all of our needs and quite a few of our wants. It was perfectly set up for digital nomads. 2 different internet providers, a backup power generator, backup water tanks, and more. It was fully fenced in, allowed dogs, had a hot tub, no pool, and met a lot of our other needs, met all of our needs. It was on a drivable road, and it was within our max distance to town. The town even had its own weekly farmers market. We had our initial 3-month rental.
Now, in many ways, Nosara lived up to its reputation. There were lots of nearby beaches, from surfers' delights to more secluded spots for swimming and sunbathing. The beaches are mostly undeveloped because of the proximity to the national park. The town itself was a bit away from the beach. It had a couple of smaller farmers markets where we definitely enjoyed purchasing produce and trinkets. And there were basic supermarkets, pharmacies, hardware stores, and even some local specialty food stores. There were even regional air flights into Nosara from San Jose.
On the other hand, we found Nosara to be hot all the time, everywhere. Average highs were in the low 90s with heat indexes at 95 plus. We found that we couldn't stay in the supermarkets very long, or we'd get overheated and dizzy. Even though we were there in the rainy season, it was dusty, as could be seen by the shade cloth on the street side fence of our rental. Away from the beaches and the hilltops, the air felt stagnant. Being in a smaller sized town, some of the things you needed, you had to travel to get to. And the closest good-sized city with hospitals and major stores was Liberia, almost 3 hours away by car.
Then there was getting there or going anywhere else. Most of the roads were really bad. Going north, we had to ford rivers when they weren't too high to prevent passage. There were some great restaurants, a couple of them in the hills around Nosara, and they were definitely a favorite of ours, although they were definitely an adventure to get to. And even the roads in the town of Nosara itself were paved, but had potholes all over the place that you were constantly dodging, along with tuk-tuks and pedestrians and all the other things that come with living in a town. So overall, Nosara was expensive, as you'd expect in a tourist area, and blackouts were common, and at times there were issues with the water supply.
Our rental was definitely set up to cope with some of these issues. For example, as we mentioned, it had a backup electrical generator, it had backup water supplies, and even had a backup internet connection. As we discovered as we used each and every one of them. We had other issues with the rental as well. One night, the ceiling collapsed on us while some of us were in bed. The bedrooms were air conditioned, but it was too hot outside of the bedrooms. For example, cooking or doing dishes during the day was a sweat bath.
Last but not least, the town felt too touristy for us. We wanted to live in Costa Rica, not in a tropical version of the US. Considering all of these aspects, while we really like Nosara as a vacation spot, obviously a lot of expats like it, it wasn't for us. So we decided to look elsewhere, which is the topic of a future video, Where Part 2.
So hit that bell if you want to be notified when we post that video. Thanks for liking, subscribing, all those things. And join us next time on Poly in Paradise.
Hi there, YouTube. Hope you're enjoying our content. Don't make Max sad. So please like and subscribe to follow us on our adventures.